There's an odd fascination I had with digital download games. The early days of it, I should specify. There's your obvious stuff like the shareware episodes of classic first-person shooters like Doom and Quake, but if we jump forward to 2006, we had things like the Xbox Live Arcade and Wii Shop channel that led to a lot more bite-sized or arcadey-focused games coming into popularity once again, with examples like Super Meat Boy, Muscle March, or Castle Crashers. But by the early 2010s, most digital storefronts were starting to have full retail games available for digital download, and also purchase and all that other good stuff. But for about a year, there was one last remnant of those early days, and that was the 3DS's Nintendo eShop. Before the release of New Super Mario Bros. 2, when it consisted of demos, virtual console games, and good DSi games that nobody played because not many people got a DSi. And a couple big hits were in the early days, like Bimpomen and my personal favorite, Sakura Samurai Art of the Sword, which I made a full video on. But not too long after those games, we got Liberation Maiden, a weird fusion of Level 5 and Grasshopper Studios making a fast-paced mech game with a story that wants to be deeper than it really is. And you know what? It was awesome. But even when I play this game, there's one level in particular I tend to avoid replaying unless I'm running through the entire game, and that's Osaka. This intro has gone on long enough, and I'm sure there's already at least one angry comment about me dragging this out, so let's dive on in, shall we? Obligatory lead-up time. This game isn't very long, but the levels have a fairly straightforward formula of Shoko heading around the map to destroy 3 mini-bosses known as Lesser Spikes before the barrier goes down so she can take on the main boss of the chapter, the Greater Spike.
I knew the Greater Spike would be big, but it's huge.
That's what she said. Now, as the first major boss of the game, Light Flash is not very difficult, but with the spam of circular shields and the Japanese vocalist going all out, he does a great job setting the tone for this game of being high-energy, fast-paced chaos. Chapter 2 takes us to Kagoshima, which gives us a new laser weapon, but ultimately this level more so exists to introduce you to side objectives. The boss fight with Ginbu is one I sadly have less nice things to say about. It tries to overwhelm you with meteors, but it's just kind of annoying, and the flaming pillars do nothing but stall out the fight by blocking off your mobility.
The conduit spike signal is gone.
I'm gonna want a shower after this.
And then we begin Chapter 3 as we enter Osaka.
It's time to put an end to this. Proceeding with the mission.
So what makes Osaka stand out so poorly compared to the other chapters of this game? Well, going around and doing the same 3 objectives for multiple chapters would get kinda stale, so the game adds in wrinkles to find the lesser spikes. Tokyo is the tutorial chapter, so it has nothing major, it's just teaching you the game's mechanics. Kagoshima has the lesser spikes hidden in the ocean or under mountains, so you need to find them and tear into them. Plus the level introduces you to your first major side mission. And Osaka decides, what if we just throw in a bunch of unpleasant bullshit, beginning first with destroying the enemy Walker facility, which means it's a stealth mission of navigating your large and obvious mech without getting seen, and this game's controls are designed for you to go fast, not for pinpoint precision turns past enemy radar in 3D, but I've done it so much that I can kind of get through it fairly easily without too much issue these days. Still pretty annoying to do, not gonna lie. The battle with the lesser spike inside is kind of annoying since the arena is so cramped, but it really shouldn't give you too much trouble at this point. Just keep moving either to the left or to the right and never stop until the thing is dead.
I say cry.
The same cannot be said for the enemy radar dishes. We need to not be seen by their searchlights, which bounce around like DVD logos randomly, so not a big deal. We'll just stay out of elevation and Shoko rose up into the air, so the lights can spot her more easily. Wonderful. Try not to get spotted, because if you do, you'll get smited by the wrath of God and anime. You have to carefully navigate between the lights and take out each dish without getting spotted, because getting spotted doesn't just unleash a lot of lasers, it also wastes a fair bit of time, and that kind of matters in this game because the chapters are on a time limit and you can't fight through the lasers because the dishes get shielded, making them invincible. So if you're not careful, you'll very easily find yourself winding up dead.
I'm going down. It can't end this way.
But thankfully, once all the radar dishes are destroyed, all the searchlights and most of the lasers go away, but we still gotta deal with the lesser spike.
I say cry, I say cry.
Heading to the industrial zone, we have to take out their power plants, but first you'll be interrupted by whatever side mission the game throws at you depending on the difficulty level you selected. This one's fairly unremarkable, it's just a matter of killing 10 walker enemies, which you'll be doing anyways as you go throughout playing the level. Now actually getting to the smog, this one's pretty annoying because it's hard to see anything because, well, look at it. It also means you can't lock onto targets without getting up in front of them, and you're getting shot at by everything, which makes it harder to see, but I mean, hey, it's still okay. You can still just throw your nuke out if you need to. And after that, we fight a lesser spike, so you know the drill. If you're getting sick of that joke, too damn bad. Anyways, with all that handled, you can go fight the boss right now, but if you're a completionist, you need to achieve 100% purification rating, which means every single conduit building on the map needs to be destroyed. In Tokyo, it was very linear and a straightforward path. In Kagoshima, it was a bit more open, but the buildings were limited to the islands themselves, and most of the area was water, so it wasn't too hard. Osaka, however, is a big city that all looks just about the same, and you're scouring the map for that one building you missed that just has a slightly purple outline to it. All the while, that time limit keeps ticking down. But hey, bosses in these games are only about 2 to 3 minutes to bring down, so no big deal, right? Right? Well, for one, you want to remember there's multiple buildings you need to take out inside the boss arena as well. But for two, the boss is, well, it certainly is a boss fight that had Suda51 development involved, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, let's get to talking about the Steel Tiger. The Steel Tiger is the big boss to cap off Chapter 3, and it is far and away the worst boss in the game. Why exactly? Well, for a couple of different reasons. Like this. Because who doesn't love getting blown up from explosions that take place behind the camera? But anyways, the first two phases of the Steel Tiger aren't too difficult. He just shoots out saw blades that have phantom range in their explosions, which is kind of bullshit, but okay, whatever, you learn to deal with it. The real problem is when he reaches phase 3 and his massive defender robot shows up. This thing will constantly fire off missiles while staying directly in your path, blocking any shots until it's been stunned, and he's constantly regenerating health as well, so that means you have to keep up the pressure on him to have him actually stay down. And even when he goes down, it's only for about 10 seconds. In addition, this boss is now firing out 2 giant lasers that can chunk off half your health in a single hit, and the evil energy nets that stun Kamui, and requires you to rapidly swing your control stick back and forth to break free, and for some reason, even though there's another stun mechanic in the game, this one has a much higher requirement to break free of like 8 inputs. It's stupid. And when you're stunned, his defense robot will charge up the Final Flash, which can one-shot you on hard mode if you don't have enough shield nodes. And as an annoying bonus, when he's stunned, there's a chance his body just still blocks the Steel Tiger's weak spot, making it impossible to lock onto the boss and actually do damage with your main missiles, which are your primary method of attack. It just stalls out the fight, and don't bother using your blade. Bosses are immune to blade attacks anyways, and nothing you do really with it will be helpful. That is, of course, barring the weird scenario when you have your blade fully charged, but then you have no shield nodes and take a ton of damage. Though, to be honest, I don't know if this is supposed to be remote or not, because I've only ever seen it happen like 3 times in my entire life. That, or I'm just really trigger happy with blade spam, I guess. But wait, because when we get to phase 4, it brings back the buzzsaws from phase 1 and 2 with their phantom range explosions, while also having to deal with lasers, energy nets, missiles, the robot, Final Flash, and the newly added red wall, which cannot be passed through and continues to close in on you for entirely too long, essentially locking you into a small area where you're busy dodging everything else. And while the missiles aren't too threatening, they just get in the way of your lock-ons, so you're not going to be getting a lot of damage off either. It would probably be downright overwhelming if it wasn't so fucking irritating, and not just because of the attacks, but because of everything else surrounding the fight. So many of his attacks have splash damage, which luckily you can likely avoid serious damage, but they'll almost always go and break your shield, and you're going to constantly hear the same voice clip over and over again of Eden Rigel screaming out in pain while Jameson Price says, "It's getting too dangerous." On top of that, the sound effects of everything else going on. It's the only time in the game it feels like an assault on my ears where it's just downright unpleasant, and as an added bonus, the boss theme is very annoying. It doesn't sound too bad at first, but it is a very short loop of about 30 seconds, and you know what? I could keep describing this, or I could just play a clip for you to know what exactly it is like going through this fight. Yeah, this is like the one time in the game I actually recommend just turning the volume down. It helps a lot. With everything going on in this fight, it's easy to just die, and that's a problem when this game has limited continues, because if you run out, it's a case of start over from chapter 1, or just abuse the 3DS's home menu and quitting out before confirming the game over, because, well, that's a very exploitable glitch that you should totally do. But we're gonna pretend you're not abusing exploits, and in that case, this boss cost me 3 continues on my first playthrough, and you only have 5 of those in normal mode. Keep this in mind, it'll be important later. Because, as one last shitty bonus, most bosses in this game last 2 to 3 minutes, which is good because every chapter in this game, except for the last one, is on a 30-minute time limit. Now for an experienced player, or a casual run, 30 minutes is nothing. Heck, an experienced player could beat this entire game in 30 minutes and still watch the cutscenes. But, if you're going for the achievement that is 100% purification on hard mode, then good fucking luck, because not only does everything look the same in this chapter and take forever to properly purify, but the boss might just be the longest in the game, averaging around 3 to 5 minutes on normal mode, but a ridiculous 6 to 8 minutes on hard, because it just loves to stall you out. That's entirely too long in a fast-paced action game. It's so comedically long that this is the only level I've ever actually timed out in. Granted, this is more of a fringe case for achievement hunters in particular, but it's still a big pain in the ass I find worth mentioning. Finally, when its 4th health bar reaches 0, it's time to use the sacrifice drive to spin right round, baby, right round, and drill through the Greater Spike's core. But be careful, because if you run out of shield nodes during the sacrifice drive, you die and it's an instant game over, no continues. Not a problem if you have close to full shields, but if you just took a hit at the point you took at its 4th health bar, which is pretty common considering everything flying around, then you only have around 6 shield nodes left, meaning you're gonna have to spin like it's a Mario Party minigame if you want to live. And honestly, given that this is a Suda 51 game, I feel like a lot of the game design stuff here is just intentionally asinine, because why wouldn't it be? And while it's not really the subject of this video, there's still another really hard fight in this game that I want to touch on, and that is the final boss, Guardian Spirit Yatagarasu. I like this boss a lot, but it's far and away the hardest battle in the game, and while I'd still put it firmly into the hard but fair category, it can be extremely stressful when you're down to your last continue and the boss keeps spamming its wing flap attack, which is far and away his scariest attack because of how the projectiles move. Honestly, if I didn't know you could cheat the game by quitting out, I would have lost this whole thing, because remember, your continues are going to have to get you through the entire game. Good luck. And that's more or less going to do it for this video. Overall, it was pretty fun revisiting this game, but sadly, it's not a game I'm going to go and say, oh yeah, you should totally play it, because you're not going to realistically be able to do so. It was exclusive to download from the 3DS eShop and on the iPhone App Store for a very, very brief point of time, and was pulled for being a crappy phone port. And with it shut down, you can't exactly get it anymore. You could try to emulate it, but let me tell you, that'd really suck on PC, since the game heavily utilizes the touchscreen. It's like trying to run Kid Icarus Uprising. Honestly, your best bet these days would be either modify your 3DS so you can access the entire eShop store through something like, I don't know, HShop or whatever, or get yourself an Einthor. Either way, the game was fun to revisit, and while this video may have made things a bit obvious, stay tuned for an upcoming boss ranking of this game at some point in the near future. Like, I've got the footage, and I've got the script and everything pretty much done. On that note, I thank you all for watching. If you'd like to see more content of varying quality, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care. What the hell do you mean this game got a sequel, but it's a Japanese-only visual novel on the PlayStation Vita? What the heck is Suda smoking and where can I get some?